Welcome to Diversity Matters. This program is designed to highlight the diversity-related activities throughout New Hanover County Schools and the greater Wilmington region. I'm Caress Clegg, Community Relations Coordinator for New Hanover County Schools. October is National Disability Employment Awareness Month. In 2018, the employment population ratio, the proportion of the population that is employed, was 19.1% among persons with a disability, according to the U.S. Department of Labor, with nearly half of that population being age 65 and older. New Hanover County Schools is working to change those numbers in their community with a strong push for more inclusive hiring. The district has partnered with the Department of Health and Human Services Vocational Rehabilitation to increase inclusive employment opportunities to both the students they serve and the adults in our community. Today, we will speak with representatives in the district and vocational rehab on their story of education to employment for individuals with disabilities in New Hanover County. This is going to be a very engaging and educational edition of Diversity Matters, and I can't wait to hear from our guests. So don't go away. We'll be right back after this short break.
I'm a bus driver.
I'm a bus driver.
I'm a bus driver.
Wouldn't you like to be a bus driver too?
New Hanover County Schools is now hiring individuals to be a part of our elite core of school bus drivers.
That's right. You can work full-time, part-time, or serve as a substitute bus driver.
New Hanover County Schools offers competitive wages, flexible hours, and state benefits.
Best of all, you get to work with the greatest kids in the world.
We need you!
Contact us today to join the next free commercial driver's license class.
New Hanover County Schools is an equal opportunity employer.
Welcome back to Diversity Matters. I'm Caress Clegg. Today we're talking about inclusive hiring and the employment opportunities that are available not to just adults within our community, but also to our students as they graduate and look to enter the workforce. Joining me to talk about this are New Hanover County Schools Board Chair Lisa Estep and Julie Askew, Assistant Superintendent of Student Support Services. Welcome, guys. Thanks for being here with us this morning.
Thank you for having us.
We're going to dive right in. Let's talk about the partnership that the district has with vocational rehab and how they are working on this district. Why is this important?
I guess I'll go. So we've worked with vocational rehabilitation for many years in many different ways. And for the majority of the time, the focus has been on equipping our students with the skills that they need for moving into the world of work, whether that means continuing their education with support for their special needs or going right into a supported work environment with job coaching. And now we're taking another step into bringing that to full circle and coming from the employer side of the house and supporting individuals with disabilities coming into our own positions.
Okay. Ms. Estep, explain the importance of inclusive hiring within our district. Why is this something that we should be doing?
Well, as a parent of a young adult with a disability, I know how much of a challenge it is to find employers who embrace hiring somebody with a disability. Sometimes there are barriers there to that employment, and so I think that as I came on the board, that was one of the things that was one of the initiatives I kind of wanted to put forward, and I knew that New Hanover County Schools would embrace that. You know, we do the job of educating, and I thought that let's bring that full circle, and I knew that VR would be a good partner in that. So we just gathered everyone around the table and thought, okay, how can we do this? How can we best support those individuals to hire them on, and what needed to be done, and you know, what areas did we need to support? What areas were, as I said, barriers to that employment, and how could we work on those? So we all just came together and brainstormed, and it was a really great process, and it went very quickly. And so I think we started at the beginning of the year to talk about it, and then a few months later, it was, we were off the ground running.
Awesome. Ms. Askew, can you talk a bit to what our population of students with disabilities looks like in New Hanover County Schools?
Absolutely. We are, among our student population of about 26,000 students, we have about 12 to 12.5% of our population are students with disabilities. And students with disabilities are throughout our school population. They are not just students who are in separate classrooms with special ed teachers. They are in every classroom. They are students with maybe speech and language impairments, all the way to students that are cognitively impaired or have significant disabilities, including physical and medical limitations. So across the whole continuum, students with disabilities represent the entire population. And so it's important for us to look at our whole population and our demographics of our community, and realizing that that's probably quite consistent. Around 10 to 13% of a population generally are going to represent as having special needs, no matter where you go.
So how does this initiative, the inclusive hiring and the partnership with Voc Rehab, how does this help our current students?
Oh, our current students, I think it provides them with the hope and the connection within an employer that where they spend the majority of their time already. So we really started with a pilot project about 1.5 years ago, where we started analyzing. We have students that are in our school sites no matter what, who are starting their job readiness and job coaching and job shadowing, and we do that in our school buildings. And that's kind of the first level of their occupational preparedness. And we realized that we have students that were performing really highly, even students with significant disabilities that may not be on a high school diploma track, and representing as really strong employee candidates. And so we really needed to back up and say, okay, what parts of our employment process are really beyond the necessary? And so do we need to require a high school diploma for every candidate? And so we decided that if we had our students with disabilities that aren't working toward a high school diploma, that are doing job shadowing and internships in our buildings, and we're really preparing them for that particular employment opportunity, could they be employee candidates? And we started with a pilot of 4 students. We worked within our operations division, and we have successfully hired individuals in full-time positions with benefits who would have not had an opportunity to work in this type of employment environment. And it's really successful because we have our students in our school buildings and in our infrastructure on a daily basis, and really providing them that ongoing repetition and engagement with those that they would be working for. So that really just started breaking down the pieces of, what barriers, as Ms. Estep was sharing, what barriers are in place that really might not inform us on whether this person is the right candidate for this position. So which things do we remove that are non-essential?
And then I think the other piece to that is kind of on the other side of it, what spectrum of jobs should we have to open up every job, because I think that there's this perception of, well, only this job should be available, or this type of job is available to someone with a disability. No, every type of job is open and available, and we have to kind of change our mindset, and really everybody's mindset in the community of everything should be open, everything should be available, because everybody deserves a career in the pathway that they want to shoot for, they want to strive for. And we don't want to, as I've always said, we don't want to put the lid on anyone's box. That's not our job. We want to help them strive to the and this is what we teach all of our children. We want to help them get to the level that they feel like they can achieve. And so we want to be part of that process. So how can we support, how can we help them get to that level? And that includes hiring. That I think is part of our mission. So we have to educate our own the people that are doing the hiring on our level, with the windmills training that we're doing to everyone who is a hiring agent on our end, to help them figure out how to support those individuals with disabilities, what a job coach looks like, what are they doing on the job site if an individual needs that extra support, and then how to retain those individuals because they want the job. They'll be a great employee, and sometimes they need a little help, a little scaffolding along the way, just like a building does sometimes. But they'll be there forever if they get the chance.
What advice would you give parents looking to kind of get more information about this program and about these initiatives and these options that are now we're trying to push out and be more open about to their students, to their children?
I would say get in contact with vocational rehab. There is the vocational rehab on the school side, and there's a vocational rehab on the adult side. You can go down there in person. The adult side is on Jekyll Drive. The high school side is here, and you can get in contact with your high school counselor, and they can put you in contact with vocational rehab, and you can find out if your student qualifies for services through VR. So I think that's actually the best way, and Ms. Askey can also add to that. But just getting in touch with those services. There are other hiring. Are there other places that do hiring as well? But I'm going to put a plug in for New Hanover County Schools because I think. Through this initiative, with the hiring days that we do, with the training that we do, I think we've been very comprehensive, and I think we provide a good place for employment.
So it's evidently clear that a student with disabilities or an adult with disabilities can be very successful working with New Hanover County Schools. Do either of you have any examples or stories that you want to share of students or adults who have come through the program?
I can definitely share. One of the students that we had working with one of our internships that really kind of gave us an opportunity to practice our job supports and our job coaching. We then kind of backed up and did the application process and the support with the technical aspects of that. But this individual certainly presented with a dedication and a loyalty to doing a really good job. Really focused on the quality of the job being done, and navigated relationships. So an individual that honestly has some communication barriers, whether it's expressive language and really being able to communicate the things that they're thinking, and then also receptive language in really processing everything that's coming at them maybe verbally. And so one of the successes is really supporting the student, in that case, that became an employee or that is now an employee, supporting that student with self-advocacy, helping that student understand that these are the ways that you can successfully articulate what it is you need, the questions that you have, rather than just going on and doing something. And when you have question about it, this is really how you can practice getting more supervision or getting more structure or support. And that actually built the relationship with the supervisor that said, okay, I really trust that this intern, now employee, is going to come to me when they have question and has the desire to do such a quality job that that goes so far when that employee then says, well, now I have a question, or now I need this support. There's already that relationship and that trust and foundation built that they know that they're a quality candidate. And you start removing the things that aren't the most necessary and essential functions. Okay, so you don't have to have someone that sits in an interview and tells you everything that that they can do or everything that they will do in every situation. Sometimes it's really about building the relationship and establishing the trust and understanding the qualities that that person presents.
So last question I want to ask, let's talk about end goals. Where do we want to see this go? What is the dream that you foresee coming from all of this work?
Gosh. I don't know if I can, personally, I don't know if I can articulate an end goal other than just to see it continue to grow. And I would love to see it replicated with other employers. We are the second largest employer which means there's another employer out there that's larger than us, and I would love to see, them adopt this, or see what maybe we can learn from each other on hiring practices. Other employers adopt what we're doing, and we all kind of come together and say, okay, how are we all doing? Inclusive hiring is something that I think all employers should be doing, because it really does change your culture in a good way.
And I completely agree, and I would love to see that our employee base is a match to our community, matching the demographics of our community in all ways. Inclusive hiring is about being a mirror of who is represented in our community and the needs that they have to be employed by a consistent and dedicated workforce.
Thank you, ladies, for sharing your information and knowledge. It has been very appreciative this morning. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
New Hanover County Schools is definitely leading the way when it comes to inclusive hiring and ensuring all of our students are prepared and equipped for life as a successful citizen. When we return, we will talk about the opportunities for those with disabilities already in the workforce and how New Hanover County Schools is ensuring their hiring practices is welcoming and accessible to everyone.
A Dog's Way Home is the story of the extraordinary lengths a dog will go to in order to get back to their family. Every year, millions of dogs and cats end up in shelters and rescue groups. We found our Bella at a shelter in Tennessee. When you adopt a shelter pet, you discover they're all pure love. Adopt pure love and help a shelter pet find their way home at theshelterpetproject.org.
Welcome back to Diversity Matters. Joining us now, we have District Talent Management Supervisor Deb Trafton and Vocational Rehabilitation Counselor Scott Crouch. Thank you guys for joining us this morning. Excited to have you.
Thanks for having us.
So tell me a little bit about vocational rehab, Scott, and how long they have been partnering with New Hanover County Schools.
We've had a partnership with New Hanover County Schools for close to 50 years. We're gearing things up, so what we're talking about specifically today, or more about today, is projects that we're working on together.
Okay. Can you explain how vocational rehab works?
We promote employment and independence with students with disabilities through customer partnership, consumer partnership, where we work with the student and family to assist them in transitioning from high school into employment.
Okay. Into employment or into other areas, maybe? So do you help also with transitioning them into higher education?
Yes, and employment is the end goal. So if a student is interested in becoming a welder or becoming a lawyer, then we would assist them, look at success indicators and assist them through that process, and then ultimately assist them with gainful employment as a lawyer or as a welder, for example.
What steps can those watching this program take to apply for vocational rehabilitation?
Call our office. New Hanover County Schools, we cover all 9 high schools in New Hanover County. We have 3 counselors that cover those 9 schools. If they're under 24, they can call our office at 254-4105. If they're an adult above 24, they can call our adult unit office at 251-5710.
All right. So, Deb, you work with actually getting these people hired and getting them employed within the New Hanover County school system. Are the employees hired through Voc Rehab held to the same standards as all New Hanover County Schools employees?
They are. They have to apply just as any other candidate would. They have to go through the interview process and be recommended. And they have to meet all of the qualification criteria to be employed. And then once they're employed, yes, the standards are the same for performance, but we do allow for job coaches to come in and assist should they need the extra support. And the principals and the staff at each location are aware of any special needs that they may have, and we make those accommodations where needed.
Okay. So you mentioned that our principals and higher district staff are aware of these. Are there special trainings that we are giving New Hanover County Schools employees and those making the decisions in hiring and how to deal with people to be more inclusive in our hiring?
We are. We started back in the spring with training all of our administrators and anyone who's considered a hiring agent. Just making a cultural change, making them aware of what it means to be a person with disability trying to break into the workforce, and breaking down any barriers that we may have to give everybody just an equal opportunity.
How does vocational rehab help to train and prepare our students for transition out of the school system?
In 2014, there was a federal legislation, the Workforce Innovations Opportunity Act, that began a different dialogue with regards to how VR worked in the schools. We are offering pre-employment transition services. We have to spend 15% of our funding with pre-ETS, pre-employment transition services. In North Carolina chose, each state does it the way they do it, but in North Carolina we chose to offer requests for application for people in the community, organizations in the community to offer the pre-employment transition services, of which there are 5. Self-advocacy, career exploration, job readiness skills, work-based learning, and counseling on post-secondary options. So we have 3 contracted services in New Hanover County Schools. Educational Data Systems Incorporated, which do all 5. The ARC of North Carolina does 2, which is job readiness and career exploration. And then we have a partnership with Teach and the Autism Teach, being working with folks on the autism spectrum, Cape Fear Community College, which they do all 5. And they do that on the campus as one of their classes when they're enrolled at a higher education.
Well, I have you here talking about transitions. I know we had the transition fair last night, and that was geared towards parents. And then later on this morning, both of you guys will be heading to the transition fair at Cape Fear Community College. Can you tell us a little bit about the fair and what it offers and the purpose of it?
Yeah, the Transition Advisory Team, that's one of the biggest projects that we have. We work together. It's made up of EC staff, teachers, community members, as well as Jamie Rhodes is a transition specialist for New Hanover County Schools, and she chairs that particular committee. So we put on a fair every year. Last night we offered an opportunity for parents to come out and meet with about 50 organizations. We didn't have employers there last night. They're community organizations that they can tap into for their child to access in their transition from school or while they're still in school. And we'll have employers there today like New Hanover County Schools, Johnstone Supply Company, which is an HVAC company, and about 10 others. So it's an opportunity for students to come in today and check out the organizations and employers and discuss with them options for them and opportunities for them to tap into their services.
So the transition fair you've been doing for several years. I think I read this is the 9th year of it.
Correct.
But the parent night, is this year the first year we were doing this?
Yes.
Why was it important to add the parent night component to that?
Historically, we've done it just during the day, and some parents can't get there because of work. So we decided to offer it specifically last night from 4 to 7 for just parents to come, so that we could provide that opportunity for them after work.
What steps is the district taking to hire more individuals with disabilities?
Right now we are focusing on awareness and with the ultimate goal of having retention. So through our training of our principals and making sure that they are aware that there are applicants within their applicant pool that are shooting for an opportunity to get an interview. Our department in Human Resources, we are working directly with principals to help identify those individuals and just work with them to say, hey, look, here's someone who we know is through the vocational rehab program. Why don't you call them and bring them in for an interview? And we've had some great success. And now we're really moving towards retention, just really focusing on how we can support them once they're in our buildings and provide whatever special needs that they have to be successful.
Can you talk a little bit about some of the accommodations or the assistance that we are providing to help with the application process and hiring?
It starts from the very beginning. New Hanover County Schools is working with vocational rehab directly in their offices. We're doing application day, where we are the only employer in their building, and we're bringing in about a dozen or so applicants that are interested in learning more about New Hanover County Schools, and we give them inside tips on how to apply, how to overcome some of the fears of going through the interview process. We recently helped with the Employment Marketing Skills Day, and we answered questions that they had. We did mock interviews. We actually helped them with their cover letters and how to get the online application completed. And then that just has opened so many doors for them, and it's been very successful so far.
Wonderful. Can you guys tell us a little bit about what jobs that we're seeing these applicants apply for and what positions they are gaining employment in within the district?
Sure. We've had several custodial positions filled, which is fantastic because it's a very strong market right now, and that's become a very difficult position to fill. And so we have custodians at a couple of our high schools, middle schools, even elementary. The child nutrition staff has been growing in our cafeterias with the helping. We've had substitutes coming through, and most recently we were trying to get someone actually to learn more about becoming a teacher with us. So it's a slow and steady process.
So it's a wide range of jobs. We're not just
Yes.
looking at one spectrum or one area. We want them employed all throughout, flourishing within our
Whatever
district.
talent they bring, we are open to it.
Wonderful. Is there anything else you guys want to share with our audience or let students or parents who are watching this know?
The one thing I did want to mention was the idea that it's very important for the employer and vocational rehabilitation to have that open dialogue, and that's what we're doing together, is having that open dialogue so that we can help increase the success rate. If we're talking about what some of the issues are, what are some of the needs. The cover letter was one of the needs that the people needed to do that we weren't doing in our employment marketing skills. That was shared with us through Deb, and therefore we began doing that in our employment marketing skills class, which is helpful. So that information is going both ways so that we can increase the success rate and the retention rates.
Well, awesome. This has all been fascinating and wonderful to learn. I appreciate you guys both being here with us this morning. New Hanover County Schools is the second largest employer in the county. It is our responsibility and obligation to ensure that we are following the best hiring practices for all open positions. The district strives to have an inclusive atmosphere that represents the population of our community, not only with our students, but with the staff we employ as well. The district is leading the way and setting the example for inclusive hiring. We hope to see others in the community to follow. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding. Why did the girl ask the mushroom to dance? Because he was a fun guy. What do you call a pig that knows karate? Pork chop. So how does a tissue dance? Put a little boogie on it.
I'd like to thank my guests for being with us today. New Hanover County Schools is working to improve equity and diversity-related issues in all facets of the district. That's why we work to highlight diversity on our show. You're welcome to call the New Hanover County Schools Public Relations Department at 910-254-4245 if you have any questions or if you have a story idea for a future edition of Diversity Matters. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again next month with an all-new edition of this show.